Good day, loves. Welcome back to episode 97 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. This is Tuesday, so that means it's cleanse day because we are following the 5-prong healing system called the Freedom 5. And Soul is cleaning the camera for Facebook, so sorry if that looked extra. And the Freedom 5 is 5 things that we can do on a daily basis to bring holistic health into our lives and help set us up so that we are not unfulfilled, unhealthy, and also, yeah, like
that was really low and unproductive.
Good day.
Oh man, we got a regular now. This is awesome.
Blessings. Welcome to the space, love, in Instagram land. This topic that we have today is pretty cool because it is one that I mean you hear about fasting, you hear about juice cleanses and they went on a 90-day fast and it reversed their autoimmune condition. And
that's
then
Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi. And then you might have tried it and then, some
didn't
things
get the
helped.
same results.
Probably. If you are a lady. So today we are still talking about fasting because there's some aspects of it that we didn't know before that allow for our bodies to stay in harmony and still support our thyroids, our hormones while we are fasting. Especially as women, there's some things that we need to keep in mind. And if you're watching and you're on a journey to lose weight, to heal any sort of autoimmune condition, if you're a working mom and you're like, yo, fam, I gotta figure this out. But food is one of the biggest challenges for you. I mean, I used to be very much so addicted to the junk foods. And I struggled with food addiction and binge eating, stuff like that. Sweetie. So this is something that will help. One word of caution. Hey, you want to tell the people?
You don't fast yet. It's too early.
One word of caution is for those of you watching that may be pregnant, breastfeeding, or if you've had a history of having some sort of eating disorder, you may want to proceed with caution, especially if you are if you've ever had any sort of eating disorder and you can be easily triggered into that. Then I would recommend working alongside a coach for some of these things, or a your care team. Care team that truly
professional
cares,
care team.
Truly cares. Okay. Yes, your professional care team. So that is the little disclaimer. And then if you're pregnant or nursing, you wouldn't take these fasting windows past 15 hours in certain phases of your cycle, which pointing back here to our little handy dandy chart that you can't see in Facebook world, but it's there, I promise. And we'll talk about it. This is something that's important because when we delve into this piece, the secret, we're able to really unlock a lot of the healing benefits and get to the results and help to reset the metabolism. Boom shakalaka.
So, as you may be familiar, the way that we talk about the cycles that women's bodies go through on basically a monthly basis is broken down most simply into sets of 28 days, but individually it could be up to like 32 days or down as much as like 26 days. And Yeah, eventually we'll probably just switch and you'll anyway.
Oh, well, we can do that. We can switch.
I want to finish this
Yeah, go
thought.
ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, and the way that we've been talking about it on this show is very heavily influenced by Mindy Pell's work, Dr. Mindy Pell's. So check her out. She's super awesome and very consistent content creator and poster. But it's broken down into the 4 phases that we were taught by Mindy Pels. Phase number 1, starting on the first day of when the bleed starts, right? And if you don't bleed, then you can sync that up to the new moon when the moon disappears completely.
And for context, the first day of bleeding does not mean spotting, y'all. It's not spotting. It's when you require some sort of feminine hygiene product to, um, yeah, to make sure you're not messing up your clothes. Okay, yeah.
And so days 1 through 10 is your first what's called power phase. And in your first power phase, you can capitalize, maximize on fast on you can call it intermittent fasting, you can call it time restricted eating, but basically shortening your eating window where you're getting all of your nutrients within a certain window, and then beyond that window you're not consuming meals or anything that's going to raise your blood sugar. And we learn to emphasize that on the power phase because of the different hormone cycles that the woman's body is going through during the power phases, right? And you can check out other cleanse episodes for a more in-depth explanation on that. Then days, I guess it said, so days 11, yeah, days 11 through 16 or through 15, 11 through 15. You don't want to have such a huge restriction on your eating window. It says here 13 to 15 hours max. So I'm guessing that's 13 to 15 hours of fasting from meals and blood sugar spiking max. But that's called your manifestation phase. And it's usually surrounding ovulation. So you got your power phase, then, and that's days 1 through 10, then 11 through 15, you got your manifestation phase. Then you have another yet shorter power phase where, again, you can maximize and optimize the fasting practices. And lastly, you have your nurture phase where it's not recommended to go super hard on fasting or working out. You want to be nurturing yourself and focused on other things, other aspects of holistic health. So those 4 phases are what Coach Tensi is going to mold this episode's information around when it comes to your eating window and how it positively impacts both your immune system and resets your gut.
Yes. So, as far as things to remember, optimally, it's helpful to sync up our bodies, female bodies, to our cycles, how our hormones are doing their own little dance. When hormone levels are high, that's not the time to fast because everything that you do will be stored. Everything that is in excess of what your body actually needs will be stored as fat because your body does that with everything, whether it's a toxin, a hormone, or it is excess sugar or glucose, etc. Any excess gets stored as fat in the body because your body's using that as padding. And it's kind of like, I don't know what to do with this right now, but we need some sort of fat storage just in case there's a famine, just in case there is a period of time where you can't get nutrients, you can't eat. So we're going to store this. And then after that, it starts to, store it around your muscles. But then when it has struggles to find places to store things because more excess keeps coming in that the body can't deal with, then it starts to store it around your midsection, your internal organs, and beyond. And that, especially when it gets around your internal organs, that's where a lot of life-threatening conditions enter in. And you may not see it all the time. So you could be someone my size and struggle with fatty liver disease that's
Yep.
undiagnosed. Okay, that's what a lot of teens are struggling with right now because of the additives in our foods that are obesogens.
And the
And
oils.
yes, and the ultra processed oils. So like the canola oil that they told around and they tell you it's healthy. That's because of good marketing. It's worth it to look at all of the research studies, who's funding the study, and yada yada bing bang. We can go down a rabbit hole. We will not today go down the rabbit hole. Okay.
But just for a little tiny bit of added context, just look at when America and the West
Come on
got.
into the frame because the camera.
Just look at when America and the rest of the West got super fat and when we mass distributed these ultra processed oils. Look at that time frame.
It just matches up very well. And it's because an obesogen is a fancy word for something that will literally chemically force the cells in our body from being whatever was meant to be to being a fat cell. So it was designed and it was going to be a muscle cell, or it was going to be maybe it was going to support your pancreas and be in a pancreatic cell, so it could help with your blood sugar and help with all of that coming into balance. But instead, this is a chemical that's added in that it's not, the chemical itself is not called an obesogen on the ingredient label, but it's all of these chemicals that are forcing the body to actually change into fat cells from, the stem cells that are like these magical cells. Everyone, like all these celebrities getting stem cell therapy to heal this mysterious medical condition that they have or whatnot. And really, your body is constantly naturally producing stem cells. But what happens when we eat these foods that have certain additives in it, it's forcing your body to instead do what it wants it to do instead of what your body was designed to do, which was heal you. Okay. That is context. All right. So when we give ourselves time to digest and to glean all of the good stuff, when your body is given time to heal, so it gets to switch into another metabolic system. So let's see. So this switching from eating stuff to not eating stuff is the switching of metabolic system to help bring back up our metabolism. When our metabolism is up, all that really means is just jumbo jargon words to just mean that basically in your body, you're able to break down what you consume into a level that your body can actually use to heal itself. That is when your metabolism is high. It's able to break it down and clear out the excess waste, the excess toxins, the excess hormones, the excess sugar, the excess whatever it is in excess that is bringing your body out of balance. It's able to break that down and clear it out. That is a sign.
And use the nutrients.
Yes, and without the need of medications or constantly being dependent on any sort of, synthetically made treatment or procedure or whatever. If you're having to depend on medications for the rest of your life, you are not metabolically healthy. You're not truly healthy yet, but you can be. Okay, so tangent number 3. Need to give some context. All right. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if you are still tracking with me, if this is making sense to you. Where did you lose me if you lost me? Okay.
Where did you lose them? But yeah, anyway.
Just saying. I want to make sure that this makes sense because it's so important and it's something that we miss, that our body needs time. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Okay. So Fasting during the optimal times of Ami says she's tracking. What up though?
Hey, love.
Good friend. Um, when you decide to shorten your eating window during the proper phases, the power phases, and there's some room for it in the manifestation phase of a cycle of your cycle, fasting gives enough rest to the active, very mobile and active and dynamic environment in your gut. And so the resting from eating and the time to, like Coach Tensi said, break down and utilize what you get from food helps your gut literally hit a reset button and re-optimize itself, because it's not working to try and break down food over and over and over again every couple hours, doing that again. And so giving it time to reset also can reduce bloating, increase digestive efficiency, and your gut lining, which is what again?
Your the literal lining of, you can bring it back. Just so you can scoot in, babe, so that we're both in the frame is what I meant. The gut lining is the literal the mucous membrane lining on the inside of your stomach. And I also extend it out to the intestine. So when you experience leaky gut, the membranes in there are the foods, the chemical additives literally piercing holes into it. It becomes like it's literally leaking through, like you think of a cloth that has holes stabbed into it, and stuff comes through the cloth into your blood.
And so the more that we practice proper intermittent fasting synced up with your cycle, and a man's cycle is every 24 hours. So we don't have to worry about all of this in general. But if we do it, then it does introduce variety. So we still kind of have some other types of benefits if we follow the same, you could say regimen. But anyway, decrease bloating, increase digestive efficiency, and repair the lining in your intestine and in your gut.
One big note is that this gut reset happens when we get into 24 hours of being in a fasted state. Okay, so that's when your gut begins to reset itself. When we get to 17 hours in a fasting state, that's when it's like your body begins. Like, think of, okay, it is springtime, spring cleaning is happening, and you set a timer because you got a few hours in your day that you can actually be cleaning. Okay, so it's kind of like your body is spring cleaning and the timer just began. So the amount of times that you tap into the 17 hours, like a dimmer switch turning the light up slowly in a room. So the longer that you go, the more time that your body has to heal and to get like the little bits of quote unquote metaphorical dust and the little crevices where toxins were stored in your body that were blocking your health goal progress. Period. Whether that's weight loss or it's some sort of autoimmune condition or it's allergies, y'all, or it's gluten sensitivities. It's all related. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not that there's no benefits until 17 hours.
Correct.
But basically, you want to be able to work your way up to a 24-hour gut reset fast by decreasing your eating window, increasing your fasting window until you have a day where you go 24 hours, and then you can restart, right? You just eat how you want to eat, you could say, in terms of timing again. And then when the next power phase comes, or the next time that you want to experience all of the goodness that you'll experience, you can start again decreasing the eating window, disappearing it for one day, and then bringing it back.
Well, so for clarity, let's say you are looking to shift into a healthier eating habit, right? Because you know that the nutrients in your food matter. Okay, cool. So, in order to get to there, though, one thing that's been scientifically proven, there was a uh, a study on time restricted eating done by the New England Medical Journal, and they found that simply compressing the eating window, which basically means that you either push breakfast back an hour. So, say if you would normally eat breakfast at 7, you would eat breakfast at 8 until you get to the time that you're not actively consuming things, whether it's drinking a smoothie or having a coffee from wherever you got it from, or a whatever you choose to eat, right? The crumbs, the nibbles, the snacking stopped at a certain time, and that time frame would be called your fasting window. So there's an eating window and there's a fasting window. And when they found that people were beginning to lengthen their fasting window to, they worked their way up over a span of weeks, every week pushing back breakfast an hour or pushing up dinner an hour so that they weren't eating
or both.
late or both, right? And that was compressing their eating window into a smaller span of time in a day. They, they often worked on that first as opposed to removing the things that they were eating. And one thing that will happen, guaranteed, say if you're eating a lot of ultra processed foods, and that's where you're starting from, is your body will be telling you to please make some changes in how you feel. So as soon as you stop your fast, depending on what you break it with, your body will either be at ease or it will be like, okay, hey, something here is not working, and we're trying to tell you based off whether if you feel fatigue or you feel like an upset stomach, depending on what you went back to eating. So that's a topic that we can expand on in another episode, and that we have on
Well,
as to
tomorrow, yeah.
how to break your fast. Yeah, we'll
Hmm.
talk about it tomorrow. Okay, on fuel day. So how to break your fast so that you're not experiencing all these crazy detox symptoms like intense cravings, like when you're feeling gnarly. Like my first fast that I ever did, I was I was eating so clean before, and then I went into a fasting window. And when I was going to break the fast, I ended up breaking my fast with a half of a loaf of bread, eating it in my car. Like I scarfed it down like it was nothing. Like completely inhaled this bread, basically, because my body was in such a state, like the most intense craving. That's one of the things that you can experience, especially if you during your fast, like I was doing the juice cleanse, I was just drinking these juices. I would feel like a low energy after I had these juices because they were spiking my blood sugar up and then bringing me down. And then I would just like rest, sleep to kind of like recover my energy. And so I wasn't getting enough nutrients in throughout at this time. By the time I was breaking my fast, I was very hangry, and my mood was up and down because I wasn't also eating um, in my eating window things that were actually going to support me in the phase of my cycle that I was in. So if you've ever experienced something like that, say like, yo, let me know if that is you in the comments, because this is something that throughout the course of this week, these 2 days, we'll talk about ways to further support your cycle so that you're not experiencing that rebound, so that you go straight back into the habit that you were trying to work your way out of, right? So in your um, when we are looking to enhance hormonal balance through fasting, one of the big things, there are certain foods that are supportive in our cycle to support the different hormones in our cycle. And one thing to keep in mind, again, is there is a hormonal hierarchy, right? And so at the very top, there's the hormone oxytocin, which regulates all other hormones in the body. Oxytocin is a fancy word that basically means that you're the hormone that tells you you need love, connection, and to feel connected to yourself, to feel connected to others, to feel connected to your spirit. Whenever you are in laughter, whenever you are in meditation, whenever you are, deep breathing and like listening within, listening to that still quiet voice within yourself, when you're communicating, having meaningful conversations with people that you care about, when you're hugging like an animal, or you're hugging a baby, or you're hugging, like having these cuddles moments, all of this, or massages, getting massages, all of this boosts oxytocin, right? And that helps bring balance to all of your hormones because it brings down stress. And it also will help to, and stress either takes you out of balance or it brings you into balance, right? So some things that we can look at, since we know that, okay, first love and connection, then stress will either bring me out of balance or in balance. What are things that are going to perpetuate stress and make it worse? That would be if you chose to fast during your nurture phase. If you chose to fast during your nurture phase, it's not the time to do it. You don't want to go past 12 hours not having eaten. It's wise to give yourself time to actually process the foods that you had, right? And if you're sleeping 8 hours already, that's already 8 hours out of the fasting window that you were not eating, which is fine. But you may want to give yourself at least 10 hours to digest any day of a given month, right? So even in your nurture phase, give yourself at least 10 hours, right? If you can. Work your way to at least 10 hours. Don't go past 12 or 13 if you want to be fancy. All right, don't go past there for fasting. So when it comes to the power phases, these are the times where hormones are low. So these are the times where we can lean into a longer fast, like a 24-hour fast, or like a 48-hour, 72-hour fast if we were really doing some extra crazy deep healing, or we want to just reset everything for a moment. Those are the times, your power phases that we already talked about, day 1 to 10-ish, right before you would ovulate. If you do still ovulate, or around day 16 to 19-ish after ovulation is finished. Those are the times when you can really power up on fasting.
And then during your fasting, there are also things you can consume during a fast that won't raise your blood sugar or take your body out of that reset. Which, first of all, H2O,
Water.
right, or alkaline water, is great.
Yes.
Secondly, teas. Now, the tea cannot be super filled up with sugar,
Non-caffeinated.
right? Decaf, and just not decaf, but non-caf. Yeah. Herbal tea.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then herbal supplements as well. So getting your tea, getting your herbal supplement that is made the right way. We'll go into that in a different episode, and we have gone into that in other episodes. But doing these things won't take you out of your reset. They won't make your body go, oh, more food, so time to do something else. It won't disrupt that, and it will aid and support, in fact, the efficiency in which your body is resetting its systems. So keep in mind that there are things that you can do can consume during your fast that will support the fast. Not everything that you consume, especially water and tea
And supplements.
And supplements, yeah, especially those things. But even
because your body literally needs more minerals during the fasting state.
But even what you said, like nut butter, like 1 spoon.
Oh, yes. There are fasting snacks, y'all.
Fasting snacks,
that
yeah.
that your body still treats it like it's in a fasting state, but you can eat it, and it will not take your body out of. It's been scientifically proven to not uh, be treated like your body doesn't treat it like it's a breaking your fast yet, right? So it doesn't spike your blood sugar, because when your blood sugar starts to go at a certain range, or you start to have a certain amount of um, protein content or carb.
I didn't even know that we were answering a question that Cynthia put in the questions box till just now. She said, "What do you think about drinking tea during fasting?"
Oh,
In the questions
absolutely.
box.
Please do that. Please do that, especially since the soil is so depleted. You're going to have to get your minerals in some point. But yeah, absolutely. And when it comes with tea, if you tend to put sugar in it, don't do it.
Don't do it.
If you tend to put, cream
Don't do it.
in it, don't do it. But if you really just want to even out your blood sugar, and you are not already concerned about like your saturated fat levels, you can put a spoon of coconut oil in your tea should you want to, but you really don't have to.
Ami says it's been the almond butter for her.
Yes,
And
fasting snacks.
Cynthia's laughing because she said, "Oh, I thought you were answering me the whole time."
Fasting snacks, some examples like what Ami just said in Instagram land. Hey girl. Almond butter is a great fasting snack. 1 spoon of almond butter will allow for you, especially for these longer fasts where you're going 17 hours beyond. It can be very helpful, very helpful, one time during that period to have a fasting snack like a spoon of almond butter. Or another example would be half of an avocado would also be a fasting snack. So you can put your little herbs, spices, seasonings, things on top if you would like to. Just wash those additives, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, so half an avocado is another example. And then the third example is a spoon of, say, like coconut oil, or a lot of people use MCT oil. I just forgot what's coconut oil. I mean, it still is in, yeah, whatever. And then you can also use like a spoon of, other of the good oils, right? So some of the good oils are avocado oil. If you can find it cold pressed, then that is like
Just drinking oil, or doing what with the oil?
a spoon of oil added to tea.
There we go. I wanted you to say that part because just a spoon, like we say a spoon of almond butter, and then we say a spoon of coconut oil without saying to put it in tea. It sounds like you're just eating coconut. That's nasty.
That's a bit odd. That's not quite what. Thank you for asking. That is a clarifying note that is important to mention.
All right, we're closing out this episode. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in to episode 97 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. Just super quickly again, especially for beginners, gradually increase your fasting window, gradually decrease your eating window. For the women friend, make sure that you're adhering to the proper phases of your cycle. Don't try and go too hard past about 12 hours or so in your nurture phase, past about 15 hours or so in your manifestation phase.
Yeah.
No probs. She said, "Thank you for the awesome info."
Yes, and thank you for the question, love.
Get yourself a copy of Culture Control: Why the Love of Money is Objectively the Root of All Evil, by me, Soul Expression. And like the
what
video.
Expect in Culture Control. I know we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it. So check out previous episodes. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow the page, share this out, and we'll see you in the next one.
We love you big much. Take good care, loves. And we'll see you tomorrow.